All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday, October 26, 2021 Redistricting Ad Hoc Committee meeting. In accordance with Government Code Section 54953E, this meeting will be conducted by webinar and teleconference only. A physical location has not been provided for this meeting. I note that all board members are present, Director Coleman, Director Young, and myself. We'll go on to public comment. If members of the public wish to speak on a non-agenda item, we can start with you. But whether agenda or non-agenda, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. When prompted, please state your name, affiliation if applicable, and topic. The secretary will call each speaker in the order received. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to speak. However, I have discretion to amend this time based on the number of speakers. Secretary will also track the time and inform each speaker when the allotted time has concluded. Risha, will you, are there any speakers for this morning's session?
We have no one for public comment.
All right, we'll move on to our first agenda item.
Good morning, President Linney and Directors Young and Coleman. So just as a quick reminder, at the last ad hoc committee meeting, you asked staff to focus our efforts on rebalancing wards 5 and 7. So today we'll review first the most recent population data and then present a number of proposals to rebalance those two wards. Risha Cole, the Secretary of the District, and George McQuarrie, Senior Software Engineer, will lead the discussion. So with that, I'll pass it on to Risha.
All right. Good morning again. Just wanted to review the information that we provided in the memo on October 21st and see if the committee had any questions about the map from 2010 that included the population data for the cities in each of the wards, the map with the 2020 population data that was as of September 27th. And we also provided a map showing population changes from 2010 to 2020 by census tract.
I have one question, just because I don't understand how it could possibly happen. How did Kensington increase by 8,000? I mean, if I'm looking at the numbers right. Is that right? There's a...
George.
I will check on this. I didn't notice Kensington. I will have to review that, but I can get back to you on that. Kensington total population I thought was 8,000, so.
Well, these numbers, the numbers on the map are meant to show increases, right?
Yes, for the one that's the census tract.
Attachment 3, this big one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it says 8,000. It might just be a typo. Because
that was most likely a typo because, well,
that can't be right. Yeah. I grew up in Kensington.
That doesn't seem right at all.
There's no way that you could fit 8,000 more people in there.
I will review and check that. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, Director Young.
Yeah.
Okay. So were there any other questions on the maps that were provided? Okay. And then there was a request for a clarification on the definition of communities of interest, and that information was provided in the memo. Were there any additional questions about communities of interest? Okay. And then the board asked whether the board of directors could consider projected population growth in determining ward boundaries and target ward populations. And you were provided information in the memo. Were there additional questions about that information? All right. With that, I'll turn it over to George McQuarrie, and he'll walk us through the updated population data and the redistricting proposals.
Hey, let me see if I can share this screen. Oops, it's not sharing yet.
There you go.
Okay. Is this large enough for people to see? Oh,
Yeah.
And let me get it full screen. Turn it.
Over to the right.
Over to the right.
Upper right. Middle box. Up.
Help me a bit.
Yeah, well, hold on one moment. Hit F5.
F5. Thank you.
All right.
Is that too small for people? I know I have a larger screen than for some people and in others, and it shrinks a bit.
We can see it fine.
Okay, great. So good morning, President Linney, Directors Young and Coleman, and welcome to redistricting proposals for your consideration. So my agenda, reviewing most recent population data. We had an update last week, Thursday, from our vendor. Reviewing the ward population deviation percentages as they currently stand under this new population data. Presenting proposals 1, 2, and 3, and then next steps and questions. So the census data update changed the total service area population for EBMUD from 1,475,290 to 1,477,418, a difference of 2,128. Not very much across 1.4 million. That's a lot. The target ward population, though, changed as a result from 210,756 to 211,060. This update still indicates that Ward 5 is above the board adopted allowable deviation of 3%. It's at 3.23%, as you'll be seeing, or 217,878. And Ward 7 still has the second highest deviation in the opposite direction, negative, of negative 1.92%, or 207,016. Fortunately, they are adjacent to each other, and as the board directed, I researched some proposals for your consideration of how to move that and change that. So here again, we have the just breakout. 3.323% is too high, negative 1.92 is too low, and here are the other wards before proposal 1, which I will now make. Proposal 1 is to move an area of San Lorenzo that is east of Highway 880. It's actually bordered between Highway 880 and the Southern Pacific Railroad from Ward 5 to Ward 7. Yes, here it is. It's between 880 and the Southern Pacific Railroad. The population is 4,637. So to orient the board, it's very much down here at the south. And to zoom in a bit more, you can start to see what we call, the staff is calling the fish shape. You can see it's an interesting ward because we have Ashland to the north, Hayward to the south, Cherryland to the east, and San Lorenzo to the west. It's very much a border area. Getting closer, and again, you can see we have Ward 7 with Cherryland here on the east and Ward 5 on the west. Here's the service to this this proposed area. So you can see we have a lot of meters. It's great. And here is the population by census block for that area. Here is a satellite photo of the fish, and proposal 1, if you were to accept that, would change Ward 5 from being at 3.23% to being 1.03%, which brings it back within the board adopted allowable deviation. That would also change Ward 7 from being negative 1.92 to almost being exactly on target at 0.28 by moving those 4,000. Proposal 2 is a minimalist approach, and it's simply moving the smallest unit we can, 1 census block with a population of 508. Again, it's in the same area as proposal 1 at the border between Hayward and San Lorenzo. Getting closer still. And here we are. I don't know what to call this shape. We don't have a cool name like the fish for it yet. But to show you, this area is we believe the largest population source is the misnamed Hayward Village Senior Apartments. I checked on this. This is in San Lorenzo. It even says so here, but they call it Hayward Village. And when we see the satellite, you'll see it's several stories tall. There's also some commercial, McDonald's, U-Haul. So, but this senior center here is, we believe, most of the population of the 506. If you were to choose proposal 2, that would move the bare minimum that would move Ward 5 to 2.99% and move Ward 7 barely at all. It'd still be negative 1.68%. Proposal 3 for your consideration is that San Leandro is already split between Wards 5 and 7 by Highway 880. This proposal would be to move the greenhouse marketplace area in San Leandro from Ward 5 to Ward 7, again extending along San Lorenzo Creek, but on the north side. So we're leaving, in this case, San Lorenzo alone, and the division between Cherryland and San Lorenzo is intact. Instead, because Ward 5 and Ward 7 are divided by 880, this is going slightly to the west for the southernmost section of that division. Getting closer. And now with the satellite photo. And I'm not sure why, but both Google Maps and the USGS do not include the actual marketplace area. They only include the residential areas around it. So I can't get you a good picture of that, but it doesn't, we've got, again, a very minimal amount. This would move if the board were to choose proposal 3, it would move Ward 5 to 2.94%, which would be within the 3% adopted allowable deviation. And it would move 7 to negative 1.63%. So those are the proposals, and it is up for the committee to discuss and consider redistricting proposals 1, 2, and 3. So, thank you very much.
Thank you,
All
George.
right,
I'm sorry.
I'd like to,
Go ahead, President Lenny. I just wanted to, go ahead. I'll let you know what next steps are after your discussion.
okay. So the, this is the area of the district that Frank and I border each other, or District 5 and District 7. And over the different redistricting efforts of the past 2 times, there has been an effort to make the border easy to remember, let's put it that way, or easy to explain also. And as I seem to recall, and I don't have the detail on the maps given today, and I don't have a more detailed map, but that, 880, basically I've always explained, my district is on the bay side of 880 for the most part. And so I noticed with this last one it would actually take a chunk of the area west of 880 and put it into Frank's district.
Yes.
I don't, a few blocks or census tracts don't make that much difference, but it all, my preference, if we were to find ones to move, it would be, to try and again keep to a simple way of people understanding what district they live in, or an easy way for us to explain that. On the earlier ones, I wasn't clear exactly where they are. So that was one point or question. The other one, though, that's related is that is all of San Lorenzo, I know San Leandro is split, is San Lorenzo also split between the 2 districts? Or is it mostly or all in one district or the other?
So, yes, you are bayside of 880, except for the area between San Lorenzo and Cherryland. In that case, you actually extend to the east of 880 to the Southern Pacific Railroad line. So proposal 1 would be moving that border from the Southern Pacific Railroad line to 880. So then it would be consistently, when a constituent calls up any director and they say, you ask them where they live, are you bayside 880? Whether they say San Lorenzo or San Leandro, now it would be consistently within your district, or it would be consistently in Director Mellon's district. As to San Lorenzo, it is currently entirely within Ward 5, and you have a section of, no, you just have San Lorenzo is not divided. Anyone that says that they're in San Lorenzo is currently in Ward 5, whether they're east or west of 880.
Okay. But the proposal one would split that. Those, yeah,
Proposal one would then split San Lorenzo by 880. And so, yes, the section that you have east of 880 between that and the Southern Pacific Railroad would now be within Ward 7.
And San Lorenzo is an unincorporated area. Is that correct? Am I right?
I researched that. San Lorenzo is a city. It is Cherry Land that is an unincorporated area.
Okay.
They date back to San Lorenzo dates back to one of the Spanish rancheros, and I think that's where they get their name from. At least that's what Wikipedia says. So if you believe,
San Lorenzo does not have an elected city council.
oh, it doesn't.
No.
Okay.
So I'm wondering whether
Yeah,
Wikipedia
that's
is
what I
correct
thought
or
as
what the
well.
story is there.
Yeah, I thought they were I didn't think they had. I mean, I don't know how much that matters, but it's sort of
Yeah,
like
I don't know either.
whether people identify as. I mean, I think 880 is a fairly distinct demarker, right? Of people. I mean, yeah.
It is an unincorporated community. I just looked it up on the internet.
Yes, I
Okay.
confirm. It is a census designated place that is unincorporated. San Lorenzo is census designated.
Right, but it's an unincorporated. It doesn't have a. It's like Kensington. It's census designated, but it's unincorporated. So, I mean, my preference, given that I think we'd kind of expect these demographic shifts to continue, is to get as close to, if it's easy, to get as close to the magic number as possible, then that's what makes sense to do. And it seems like the fish of the alternatives that you've proposed does that best, while having the the downside of or upside if people like having two representatives, although it's unincorporated, so that kind of changes that, of splitting San Lorenzo. So that, I
Yeah,
guess
I mean, my leanings, given the borderline, I wonder if we could see the map again, George, of the fish, or option one.
Sure, let me bring that back up. We'll take it. There we are.
F5.
Oh, yep, F5. Thank you. So again, it's this area between, so it's 880 is this freeway here. And this area is San Lorenzo. But it would be the area east of 880 in San Lorenzo for the fish. Is there any particular, do you want to see the satellite or anything in particular?
it'd be. Could you tell us?
Yeah,
from the
hold
map,
this one. Go ahead, Marguerite.
if you could tell us from the map that you sent us what census tracts it is, that would be. The screen is really hard. I don't know. I think I understand it pretty well, but.
There are 3 census tracts that make this up. The one is from the top of the fish till Rio Grande. The second tract
What
is
number? What?
I think it's
oh, you don't have
310, Marguerite.
Yeah, is it down at 310? Well, that's the number. That's the population shift. So on our big map that we got,
yes.
so it's there's number of those that show an amount of change.
Okay, the big map.
Well, that's the biggest map we have, so it has the most the most of the least detail.
I'm sorry, I'm limited by the methods I can get information to you. I much prefer giving you the direct software connection, but I believe, are you talking about the one where it's the city
Talking about an
divided by?
attachment
We just
three.
need census tract numbers.
Oh, census tract.
Well, or I guess they're not census tract numbers. I guess they are,
Are they not?
on attachment 3, I think what's indicated here or meant to be indicated here is the population increase or decrease in the census tract. So if you look at San Lorenzo, if the fish is right below where it says Cherryland, there's a 310
Mhm.
and 349 and 405 and 370. I just which of these we're kind of talking about here?
Okay, now I'm getting an idea what you're talking about. Let me,
Talking about the big map that you sent us.
of the changes, you're saying the most.
Well, that's the only way to identify, since the census tract numbers aren't included in the.
George, she's talking
In
about
any-
the map that's named population increase, decrease 2010 to 2020 per census tract, the 34 by 44 map that you provided. And so,
Yes.
yes, they're looking at that map and want you to identify the area, the fish shape on that map.
Okay,
It is the 310 area. Okay.
let me see.
But you said it's 3 census tracts, so I'm just trying to figure out which the other 2 are.
And here we are.
Looks like it picks up a little bit of also where it says 349.
But then it leaves 2 census tracts kind of hanging out. So
Okay, so if I bring up this and then we go for, where is the share screen? Okay, and that will be this one. See how
Yes.
this one works?
That's it.
Okay, let me make this a little bit smaller so it's not taking up so much on the sides. Okay, that's as small as I can go. And
A little bit of 349.
zooming in here.
can't you just share your screen with us, George, instead of having to?
Unfortunately, I'm working from home and this is on my work computer. I didn't think ahead to be able
There
to
you go.
transfer.
Keep, if you, there you
Yeah.
go.
So the area is,
It looks like it's
Here.
310
Yeah.
and a little bit of
310.
349.
yeah, 310.
Well, it should be, but the census tracts would be intact. You wouldn't split a census tract. Right?
Correct. And it's this small census. Well, for some reason, this is the 2010 census tract and it got split into a series for 2020. So when I'm comparing 2010 to 2020, I'm in cases where 2020 has split a 2010, I'm showing the 2010 versus the 2020 multiple census tracts added together.
Do you have a way to draw the fish on this?
Yes, it would be, let me get even closer to boop. And it would be this section here from San Leandro Creek down to this,
No.
this bit of section 2, yes. It's actually this one and part of this one.
Which is 880? Which line on here is 880?
It is this here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our most consistent line. And then this is the Southern Pacific Rail line. So yes, it would be this section here, which does overlap a little bit to the other side of the Southern Pacific in the 2010 census tract, and this section here of this, which again was split in 2010.
So the ones that say 405, 375, and 349
Yes, those are
would be retained. Well, that's the only identifier we have. So
Yes.
That's what I'm using. Those would be retained in 5 under proposal 1.
310 would be entirely within Ward
Or 7.
7. Yes, because it's east of 880. part of 349, this small section here between, I believe this is 880, between here and here, that small section of 349 would then go into Ward 7 as well. There are census blocks for that, but it's not at the census tract level.
Okay, and the 405 one?
The 405
Stays in
one
five.
would also, yes, would also be, but you can see 405 is actually within Hayward already. So that's already within Ward 7. Everything within Hayward, and you can see how Hayward jumps out with these little dragon teeth.
The ward lines are really hard to see, sorry.
Oh, I apologize. It's communication is so hard and it's so vital when I'm trying to communicate for my directors. So Hayward here is this section of 405 and 375, and it has these little teeth up. But does that help answer the question?
Well, so you're saying those are already in
These are already within here.
7.
Yes.
Okay, even though they, okay,
Yeah, the colorization is if they're below between 200.
right, it's showing the increase, decrease, I get it,
Yeah.
but it's. Well, that connects it better to 7. Proposal 1 connects those areas better to 7 than they are now. So,
Let me see if I can switch that.
It strikes me as option 1 gets us the most balanced, also gets us the cleanest borders between the two districts, and that absent any evidence to the contrary that we're breaking up areas of interest, communities of interest, I think we should proceed with that option. Would be my.
I'm in agreement, I would move, but do we have an action item that we're supposed to take, Risha?
Yes.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
you-
I would move that we accept proposal 1.
I'll second that.
All right. Risha, any other instructions on what you want at this point
No, let me just
after
tell
our,
you.
our board discussion?
Yeah, I just want to give you next steps. Let me find my notes. A few pages. So, since you are choosing a proposal today, we'll adjust our schedule. We're ahead of schedule. We were thinking that we were going to have a couple of more redistricting meetings. So next steps is we would present this proposal to the full board at the November 23rd meeting for the board to consider and approve that proposal for a public hearing. And we would schedule that public hearing in January. We would have the first public hearing in January, second public hearing in February, and then staff would have more than enough time to prepare the legal boundaries and the ward descriptions to submit to the counties by the April 17th deadline. So.
Question, it seems like given where we're making this change, that it'd be very important to hold, if we're gonna do in-person public meetings, that we do one, down where the change is gonna be made. To give people that live there the most opportunity to say something about it. Not that there won't be other people that wanna say other things about other parts of the area, but, other parts of the district.
We'll work to find a location for a public meeting.
The San Leandro Public Library
Mhm.
it's where the Democratic Party Central Committee meets or met when meetings were happening in person. So that's a pretty good central location.
Okay.
Not in San Lorenzo, but it's
We'll look into some locations.
Then let's have a roll call vote then.
Okay. Director
one.
Coleman,
Yes.
Director Young,
yes.
President Lenny.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We have any other business to conduct?
no other business to conduct. We're done.
All right. Thank you, Risha. Thank you, George.
Thank you so much.
This meeting is adjourned.
Okay, bye.